Assalamu alaikum and very good morning, students. Welcome back to English grammar class. And today we would be continuing with the chapter Adjectives from the Grammar Gate textbook. Let's just revise the rules quickly which we have studied in the previous video. So here there are some rules for changing the base or the primary form of adjective, that is the positive form of adjective into comparative and superlative form of adjective. So you know that positive degree is the base form of adjective where there is no comparison. Comparative form of degree is one which has comparison between two of them. And superlative degree is used when we are comparing more than two things. So let's see rule number 1, that is by adding er and est to the base form of adjective. For example, strong. So in the word strong, when we add er at the end of the word, it becomes stronger. That is comparative form of adjective. And when we add est at the end of the word strong, it becomes superlative degree. Rule number 2 says if an adjective ends in e, we add only r to its comparative form and st to its superlative form. Let's see one example for that. For example, wise. Over here in this word, we already have e at the end of the adjective. So we don't need to add er. We can just add r to form comparative degree, that is wiser. And when we add st at the end of the word wise, it becomes superlative form of degree. So remember, when an adjective ends in e, we just have to add r and st respectively to form comparative and superlative degree. Let's see rule 3. When a word ends in consonant preceded by a vowel, the final consonant is doubled before adding er and est. So students, here you need to remember that when an adjective ends in consonant and before the consonant there is a vowel, then you have to double the final consonant and then add er and est. For example, hot, hotter and hottest. Over here the word hot has the letter T at the end and it is preceded by a vowel O. So when we form a comparative degree, we will double the letter T and then add ER, that is hotter. And when we form a superlative form of adjective hot, we have to double the letter T and then add EST, that is hottest. Now let's learn rule number 4. So over here, the rule number 4 says that we can change the positive degree to comparative and superlative by changing the letter Y into I and then adding ER and EST. For example, heavy. In this word, there is Y at the end and so we would be changing it into I and then adding ER to form comparative degree of adjective, that is heavier. And when we add IEST after replacing Y, then we get superlative degree, that is heaviest. Now let's see some more example. The first one is happy, which is a positive degree and it has a consonant at the end of the word, that is Y, and so we would be changing it into I and then adding ER to form a comparative degree, that is happier. And in the superlative form, we would first replace the Y with I and then add EST, that is happiest. The second one is busy, busier and busiest. Third one is pretty, prettier and prettiest. Fourth one, easy, easier and easiest. And the last one is lazy, lazier and laziest. So let's see the image over here. It shows the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus is a dash airport. In the bracket, you have been given an adjective busy. So students, any guesses which form of adjective we would be using over here? Well, you can see that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus is not compared to any other airport. So, we would be using the base form or the positive degree of the adjective busy. So, the answer would be Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus is a busy airport. Now let's see some exceptions regarding the formation of comparative and superlative degree. There are some adjectives whose comparatives and superlatives are formed irregularly. It means that the comparative and superlative degrees of adjectives are formed without following any rules. They are totally different from each other. Let's see some example. Over here, the first one, the positive degree is good or well, and the comparative of good or well would be better, and superlative would be best. In the same way, the adjective bad is positive degree, worse is comparative degree, and worst is superlative degree. In the similar manner, many or much is used for positive degree, and more for comparative, and most for superlative degree. Far, farther or further, and farthest or furthest, that is superlative degree. And the last one, little is said to be a positive degree, less is used for comparative degree, and least is used for superlative degree. Let's see one example given over here. Today is the dash day of my life, and the adjective you would be using is good. So students, can you tell me which form of adjective we would be using over here? Well, you can see that today is compared with the rest days of my life, and we have also used the before the adjective we would be placing over here. That means that we have to use the superlative form of adjective good. So what is the superlative form of adjective good? Well, it is best. So today is the best day of my life. So let's see the last rule for the formation of comparative and superlative degree. Adjectives containing 3 or more syllables and some 2 syllables adjectives take more and most. That means there are some words which have 3 or more syllables. For example, beautiful. Here there are 3 syllables, beauty and full. Or for example, 2 syllable adjectives, careful. Here we have 2 syllables, care and full. That means we have 2 sounds. So when there are such words, we have to use more for comparative degree and most for superlative degree, because there won't be any changes in the adjective itself. Let's see some example over here. The first one over here is beautiful. That is a positive degree. Now in this word we won't be able to make any changes. So when we change it into comparative degree, we would be using more along with the adjective beautiful. So the comparative degree would be more beautiful, and the superlative degree of the adjective beautiful would be most beautiful. As we have studied in the previous exception that we use more for comparative and most for superlative degree. So over here, whenever we are not able to make any changes in the adjective, then we would be using more and most along with the adjectives. The second one says careful. That is a positive degree. More careful, comparative degree, and most careful, superlative degree. In the same way, important, more important, and most important. The next one is joyful, more joyful, and most joyful. The last one is fascinating, more fascinating, and most fascinating. Let's see one example related to this. So students, here you can see the image of a flower and it's written that rose is the dash flower. So which form of adjective you would be using over here, students? Well, you can see that rose is said to be the dash flower. That means it is compared with rest of the flowers. So, the degree which we would be using over here would be superlative degree. So, students, any guesses what would be the answer over here? Well, the answer would be most beautiful because the word beautiful does not have any changes, so we would be adding most for the superlative degree. So the answer is rose is the most beautiful flower. So students, I hope that you are clear with all the rules of formation of comparative and superlative degree. Let's move on towards one short exercise. Over here, you have to make the sentences using comparative form of words given in the brackets. Let's see the first one. It is a tiger, a deer, and the adjective you would be using is strong. So we have to make a sentence using a comparative form between the two nouns, that is tiger and deer. So the answer would be a tiger is stronger than a deer. So stronger is the comparative form of the adjective strong, and we have to use then after the comparative form of adjective. So don't forget that, students. Let's see the second one. A giraffe and a camel, and the adjective you would be using is tall. So the answer would be a giraffe is taller than a camel. Let's see the third one, that is gold and copper, and the adjective given over here is valuable. So do you think there would be any changes in this word valuable? Well, let's see. The answer is gold is more valuable than copper. So over here we don't make any changes in the adjective valuable. Instead we would be adding the word more for comparative degree. Let's see the fourth one. The sun and the moon. And the adjective we are going to use is bright. So the answer would be the sun is brighter than the moon. Fifth one, a car and a motorbike. And the adjective we are going to use is expensive. So let's see the answer. A car is more expensive than a motorbike. Here also the word expensive won't be changed, and so we are going to use more for comparison between a car and a motorbike. So students, I hope that you are clear with this exercise. So please do it in your textbook. So students, over here I am giving you one small exercise related to superlative form of adjectives. You have to fill in the blanks using the superlative form of the adjectives given in the box. So these are the words which are given over here, and you have to use the superlative form of each word in the given sentences. So students, I request you to complete this exercise in your notebook. And if you have any doubts, you can write it down in the comment box below the video. We would try to solve your problems as soon as possible. Thank you and see you soon, students.